by alone inside. He's got the breakaway with the touch to the right. Goal! Everything you wanted from this debut. It's Brandon by. Taking a shot with the left. Goal! Isaac Friend from 25 yards out. The equalizer. Will Kidd with the touch of the goal. It's a go-ahead goal. Minneapolis City.
This is the People's Pitch Podcast, the official podcast of your Minneapolis City Soccer Club, brought to you by Summit Brewing Company.
Gird your loins, fans. This is the People's Pitch, the official podcast of your Minneapolis City SC. I am your host, Nate, and I'm joined, as always, by Minneapolis City co-founder and Germanic soccer warrior, John Bisworm. John, there is just something in the air, and it finally feels like soccer is actually going to happen this year. How are you feeling?
Nate, I am feeling equal parts excited that things are starting to get real, nervous that COVID's still here, and we know that can always throw a wrench in things, and also, of course, optimistic that we have what it takes after personally a long recruiting trail and the preseason that we're right about to get out of, and we've put together not only one, but two squads, Nate, that can compete for trophies this summer.
I always forget that, like, the entirety of Minneapolis City's talent is a direct reflection of your effort level. So I'm glad.
It's sad in some cases, right? Like, like if we fail on the field, I can't exactly blame a coach if they've told me to bring in a left back and it's left footed and I give them three guys that are right footed.
Yeah, it's gonna be
I got to do my job, Nate.
After every loss, it's just like, which haven't happened in a long time.
Yeah,
it would have been a rough week for the boys at home. So
right.
Tonight we have a lovely night of soccer talk for you. Come sit by the fire with us as we welcome a guest that demands basically his own show tonight. The Pribbler, Adam Pribyl, is on the horn, and we have a huge soccer organization to talk to him about. So strap on in. We cannot pay further ado. There is no ado left. Without that, let's get going.
Just some Freddie ado.
We first met this guy when he strode onto the field as City's goalkeeper coach. Fast forward through a bevy of club successes, of which I would say he was a part of every one. And this year, Adam Pribyl is technical director and NPSL general manager of probably the biggest engine for local soccer talent in the state. And he is further cementing himself in club history as he has now broken the tie with the newly retired Kevin Hoof for the most capped guest. This is your 7th appearance, Adam. Welcome back to the show. I would ask what bourbon you're drinking, but we just found out you're in the car, so much for that.
Thanks for having me on. I can't believe I've been on that many times. That's unbelievable.
I know. I also didn't realize that. I mean, they must have been forgettable.
Yeah. I mean,
no, you've been around for a while.
You guys have been on forever. What episode is this? Like 170?
Close. Good guess. 169.
Yeah.
Oh, that's even better. Nice.
So a couple things before we dive in. Last night, you and I were together for our inner squad 11v11 session, and we identified that 3 Guinness, Adam, is really when you're living your best life. Can you tell the difference when you have that 4th one, when things start to kind of get out of the beauty of that wheelhouse?
Yeah, it's actually, you pointed it out really well, where I think, 3 Guinness, Adam, is like, I'm a little punchy, but it's mostly like all good-natured ribbing, and I'm giggling, whatever. I get around, like, you get past that 4th, and I might just get a little mean.
So, it's like you're chasing that dragon, and you get it when you get to about your 3rd one, and then everyone's got that. I don't know. We're all pretty much the same age, so I'm the same way. It's like 2 Manhattans, and I'm in the zone. 3 Manhattans, and Daddy's got a problem.
See, I feel as if, though, that 3 Guinness Adam in his happy-go-lucky state rationalizes with 4 Guinness Adam that it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So all the self-talk.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, a lot of self-realization there too. So 2 weeks ago, when we announced that we were getting back on the air after the incredible E-Cup run, we put out a poll on Twitter to our listeners asking, what should we kick off our return with? And you, sir, won against the options of Back to the Futures, A Tuesday with Tori, an OG player guess, but we netted out at 45% with Adam explains what Twitch is. So before we start here, I want to layer some context on here for folks. Adam is a very smart human, has an advanced degree, a superior soccer mind, great conversationalist. But when it comes to technology and software in particular here, the only way I can describe you, Adam, is you're like a 70-year-old man who answers a FaceTime call but puts it up to your ear like a regular call. Is that how you feel when it comes to things like digital technology that you don't get paid to work on? You work for Sports Engine, so you do get technology, but was that accurate?
I mean, one, how the hell did you guys get me on a podcast while I'm driving? Right?
Yeah, we're looking at your ear right now.
Look out, world.
Yeah. Two, I can't believe those other options you guys had on Twitter poll. Those are phenomenal.
Yeah.
Again, I'm blown away right now. This is incredible.
So you got some big shoes to fill here, I guess. But at least we know what other content we can have on. So okay, Adam. So hit us with what Twitch is. Why do people use it? And if you had to sell its uses, what would that pitch be?
Okay. So I'm sweating right now. What Twitch is? So when I first think about a Twitch, wasn't there a movie Twitch?
I think it was called Hitch.
There you go. So a Twitch is what I develop when we get scored on by Duluth. No. Twitch so I went on it, and it's a thing, and you go on there, and you're watching other people play video games.
Okay.
That's
this
what
is
I got.
true.
It's accurate.
And,
okay. Good start.
Yep. And I did it, and it was weird, and I didn't like it, but there's other people then. It seems like there's also chat functions things where people can like go on there and they're going to say, I don't know. That's the part that really lost me because these people are talking a whole bunch of nonsense. I don't even know, like, if they're commenting on that or they're talking about something else. They're splitting off into a lot of weird conversations. Now, can you watch other things but FIFA on Twitch?
Tons of other things.
Yes. I've also heard, have not yet confirmed, that sex workers have started to use Twitch.
Yeah, I mean,
what?
Not
like watching other sex workers play video games?
Yeah, it's really weird.
Or there's a video game called Sex Work that I've never heard of that they're playing on there. I don't know. I don't know. I'm starting to feel like Adam here.
Adam, you're right. I mean, you can watch people play Minecraft. You can watch them play all sorts of like Counter-Strike and different other like first-person shooter games. You can watch them play Mario Brothers. You can watch them play Magic the Gathering. You can watch them play lots of stuff on Twitch.
And you can also watch us have live podcasts on Twitch.
You can also just do like just chatting where you just log in and you're just going to sit there and talk at the camera because you're lonely.
Interesting. Now, so you just mentioned something else, Nate, that I don't understand, which is Minecraft.
Oh, yeah. It's back. It's back.
And so Minecraft to me is Legos, but video game form.
Yeah. Good.
Right?
Accurate. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so can you imagine watching someone else do Legos and not doing Legos? That sounds not fun. But let's add a layer onto it. And now it's all virtual. So you're not actually watching them do Legos. You're watching a screen of watching them do Legos. That is mind-blowing to me.
I mean, if I can FaceTime you on like Sunday morning when my kids are doing Legos, and you can watch that instead of going on Twitch.
Now, can I ask you guys both have children. Are your children watching YouTubes of other kids playing with toys?
Opening toys. My boys are
That's
huge
the hotness.
into that.
Unboxing.
Yeah, and I don't get that at all. I want to murder the kids that are opening the toys, because now I have to explain to my kids that I'm not buying those toys for them to open. So before we get down into where two old granddad bizworm starts to turn into three old granddad bizworm, let's get out of this topic and actually dive into the stuff that we want to talk about. You did a great job, Adam.
Yep, that was good.
You did your research. You still don't understand it from what I can tell, but
I don't get it.
But you have a good understanding of what some of its functions are. So
and I certainly couldn't sell it to anyone. So I appreciate you ending my misery before.
Oh, there'll be more misery. Just wait.
Mm-hmm. So Adam, if people hadn't caught the previous 6 shows that you've been on, we should let them know that you started out with Minneapolis City when you were the AD at De La Salle, right? Which really was the way you met Dan. Was he was trying to scam a playing location out of it, right? For our first season, he's looking for a good field, cool location in the city. De La Salle seems like a natural fit. Turns out that's a big no, but you applied that conversation into a goalkeeper coach job, and then you moved on finally eventually to head coach, and now a few new things on your city resume: technical director, and as of last year's unplayed COVID season, general manager. So those are 2 new titles for people that might not know you beyond your head coaching days. Can you explain what those roles entail? And really why you just keep working for the club?
First of all, no, I can't define those roles, but no. Can you?
No.
No. So technical director, that was when I stepped out of doing the head coaching, and it was really noticing. I loved head coaching. I loved it, right? Like that was a wonderful ride in 2018. But I also saw in myself that like I didn't know. I have a certain standard that I want to do things at in terms of like my own energy and what I bring to it, and I was like, that it's an intensive role, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like I think I got to take a small step back. I was also the AD at De La Salle at the time. So, and an AD is a pretty time-intensive job. So I was like, okay, this is not, if I keep doing this, I'm going to drive myself into an early grave. So I'd take a step up to the technical director role, which in my eyes was really trying to connect like our really good playing side with like this operational piece and front office piece of Minneapolis City that like both have to really be in sync for a club to be really successful in my eyes, right?
Sure.
Like, I mean, you look at all the like the really good professional teams, and it's like you have this weird arc of when you can be good. It's like usually it's like a 3 to 4 year period, and then they kind of decline. And sometimes it's because the playing side or the coach and that front office they're not just perfectly in sync. They start to get out of alignment, and the culture falls apart a little bit. So the more that we have people that can like help link those things up, hopefully the stronger their closer will get, was I guess the thought process.
Sure.
General manager. Great question. General manager, really, it's like with some of these leagues. So I like, I work with all the leagues, do all the scheduling, all those pieces. I feel like general manager is more of a title that people just recognize, like in the general public.
Yeah.
So it's like technical director, they're kind of figuring it like, wait, I don't want to talk to this guy. Where's Dan? Where's John? Right? And then it's like, all right, we got to slap this guy with another title, and then like now the leagues will talk to me. Basically, that's what I can dial it down to.
Nice. All right. So, seeing as now you're no longer directly in charge of a team within the club, how have you adjusted your approach, and how do you ultimately like how do you work with Matt and now Michael and JJ as the head of their own teams? Like, what is your, what are your goals in working with them?
Sure. That's a great question. So, one, it's this is where it gets really effed up, Nate.
Okay.
So, I am the general manager, technical director. So, I am in charge of all the coaches, but I also couldn't fully step away from coaching. So, I'm also the NPSL first assistant.
Oh.
So, I am Matt's boss. Matt is also my boss.
It's like a weird sister-wife
It's like,
situation.
yeah, I was gonna say it's like a weird version of a player manager.
It's a HR person's nightmare.
It's like in big families where your uncle is younger than you.
Yeah.
That's great. So that's the reason I say that too is because the only reason it works is because we all really enjoy each other.
Yeah, for sure.
Like I talk to Matt twice a day on the phone. It's usually
like an old.
A 10:30, 11 a.m. call, and then we usually talk in the afternoon or in the evening. And it's just like because there's just that much to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Like we talk about the players every day. We talk about the depth charts and the formations and what we're going to do for training and what's in the future and recruiting this guy. I mean, it's just like we're really lock and step that way. And if we didn't have such a good relationship, I think what we created in terms of like that weird HR crap, like it wouldn't work, and so we've really tried to create that culture and like bring it across the whole coaching staff.
Yeah.
John's been instrumental in that because like who can't get along with John? Right?
A lot of people actually. do you want a list?
Yeah, but soccer John is like like you're bouncy, you're happy. It's like
soccer John's three beer Adam or three Guinness.
That's
Adam.
your happy place. Yeah. So it like I'm telling you, over the summer, how many coaches did we add to the staff? I think we went from 6 to 11. And I had the pleasure of doing all those interviews, and all these interviews were less about soccer and more about what's the fit, what's the culture fit. Like, this is kind of what we do, really explaining our mission and values, and like, can you fit the mission? And are you like, can we all get along? Can we all just like work towards this together? And so that's really, I guess, what the answer is, Nate, is like, I like to be very hands-on with the playing side. I really like to be involved. I like to kind of oversee and make sure that we're all kind of staying on mission because we have a really special mission, right? But like we all get along really well. Like we have a beer after every training. We like, I consider all these people my friends, so it just works.
So getting into brass tacks now, Adam, let's talk a little bit more, focus on MPSL for a bit. What are your expectations for the team coming out of the COVID and into the new summer season, since we really have been planning for this year for 2 years almost?
Yeah, super tough. The reason I say it's tough is like you put together a roster for 2020, and I'm pretty sure you guys have talked about on the podcast. We're all really excited for 2020.
Yeah.
Like, kind of had that feeling like it was going to be a special year, right? So then, okay, well, what do you do with that roster now? Like, we've seen a lot of these guys play, but maybe not all of them. And so we made this decision that it's like, well, we're not going to cut people or over recruit on people that have, like, they didn't lose their spot. We just lost a year. So we basically said we're going to replicate that roster. And now we're still trying to figure out, because there's some guys that are like, now there's a spring college season. There's all these like reverberations with the pandemic that we're still feeling it. But with that, I guess I'll say is that like, I hope we haven't lost the magic of what was going to happen in 2020.
Yeah.
Because we're basically bringing the same roster back and actually upgrading in some pieces, right?
Yeah, I would totally echo that. I mean, like, I actually feel that there's almost a different magic that's in the air. Like some of the pieces that we're going to go over in a future show here when we talk about the roster. for both the NPSL and the UPSL team. I get even more excited about the guys that we add. I shouldn't say more excited. That's not a slight to the guys that were there in the 2020 roster, but like some of the people that the folks outside of you and I in this conversation have not seen play yet, you're going to be like, holy cow. Like that guy was either on the U23 team last year, or that guy, who's this new guy to the club? Like, what's his backstory? And just the quality that's just kind of dripping into our glass right now is it still has that magic that you were talking about, but I think it's even a little bit different this year.
It definitely feels like the energy is different at the club when even just showing up that Friday at the soccer coffee shop, right? That
just pick up night.
Everyone's pumped, and it's like it's like when the boys are most definitely back in town. You know, everyone is happy to see each other. Everyone is happy to get back on the pitch, but they're also but they're also ready to compete.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know, and I'll say the only thing here's where I feel a little bit of weight is that when you have that kind of wealth of riches, it's, I mean, like, you know, like one, everyone wants to play, so it's going to be really hard selecting rosters and finding out the right combinations, and then two, there's just that pressure where it's like we're going to be expected to go out and get results, right? So like it's just like it as a coach, it kind of keeps you on the edge, right? Like when you just know you're good, now you have to live up to it. So but that's the fun stuff.
So do you have any personal goals for the team this year? Seeing that you're on the coaching staff, and this weird whatever relationship you have with Matt now. Do you have any things that you kind of wrote down in your little coach's notebook on like, this year I want our team to accomplish XYZ?
Yeah, I mean, we all have documented it. Like, I think we will do well in the MPSL North, and certainly I don't take anything in the MPSL North for granted.
No, it's hard to win in our league, and people don't realize that.
It is. Every single game is tough, right? And like you guys, we talk about Eris, like they're getting better and better every year, right?
They tied us in our undefeated year.
That's what I mean. Like they're a bunch of young guys that work hard. So can we replicate the magic from 2018? We're all going to chase that, right? Like, but for me, Matt and I have talked about our big focus is making a run in the playoffs.
Yeah.
We want to take the jump from being like regular season diaper dandies to like, let's actually make a run in the playoffs. And so it's trying to build a roster that guys that's like, that are committed, that are going to stick around, that we're not limping out to Detroit with 12 guys and flying in a guy that's never played with us, right? Like, we want to go out and like make a splash.
That was a fun trip though. So finally, to kind of close the loop on the MPSL here, what are your goals as a technical director for first and foremost for Matt as a head coach, but also Tori, bringing her on new to the staff as well?
That's a great. So, like we talk about now, we've grown our coaching staff, which is incredible, right? We've got, 10, 11 coaches now, all committed to like making these guys better. The big thing I want to see for Matt is I want Matt to take that step and be, Sir Alex Ferguson, like just manage everything, right? And put these really talented coaches to work, and Matt steps back and he just plays chess while we're all playing checkers, right? And so like, how can I empower Matt and give him a voice and then step back and then I just tweak things. So that's what I'm really looking forward to, right? And with Tori, I'll just say this. Tori is one of the most talented coaches I've worked
Absolutely.
with. Like,
I echo that 100%.
Yeah, top to bottom. So with her, it's just letting her shine. Frankly, I just need to get out of Tori's way. So
wow, that's high praise, man.
And eventually
she's a rock
eventually
star.
we'll have Tori on. Our thought process was to have her on to introduce her to the show. and everyone. But our rethink on that was let's let her work for a little bit and then start talking about her involvement. So Tori, if you're listening, it's going to happen soon. But yeah, you're just diving into things. I mean, like you were saying, like Tori just started leading some sessions on her own for the guys, and they were like super engaged, high intense sessions where the guys were like, "Holy shit!" Like she means business. And I'm really excited to have her come on to start talking about how things are going now that she's actually working for us.
Yeah, that'd be great. She's John just said she just ran her first ran her first session, and there was some dude, they were blown away. They're like, oh. They thought I was tough, and then they ran into Tori.
That's awesome. Adam, let's switch gears to the UPSL, which is also technically like, under your remit, right? You need to have eyes on it. First and foremost, you are, as part of your role, the person who is doing the hiring of these coaches, right? You hired new coach Prunty, who we talked with, I don't know, earlier this year, right, John?
Yeah, we talked to him like right after he got hired.
Yeah. So what was that process like, hiring a coach for the UPSL, and what made you ultimately select Michael Prunty to lead what we have already really talked about it on the show as like a super crucial team, because they're kind of that middle step between youth development and eventual NPSL stardom.
Yeah. Well, here's the deal. So Matt has a hard job, right? He's the manager. He runs everything. I would argue Michael Prunty has the most difficult coaching job in the club, because you think about it, and like you said, Nate, so he's in between this NPSL team. So there's going to be at times where NPSL players, whether it's like they need minutes, they need confidence, they're working back from injury, they're going to be coming down and getting some minutes.
Sure.
You've got extremely talented young players that we just haven't seen a whole ton. They could easily step into camp and jump up to the NPSL team because they're balling out.
Right.
So it's kind of a transient team you're training. You've got this incredibly talented group, but they don't show up until May. And now we squeeze it, right? So now we've got the futures, and now you've got a whole bunch of talented guys knocking on the door there, and Michael's got to figure out, well, what's the right number of guys I bring into training? How do I balance all these guys? And he's got to figure it out
fast
in a week.
Fast.
Right? It's like they all come in, it's like, okay. Well, but here's the thing. Michael has the perfect personality for it. He's laid back, but he knows exactly what he wants. He's like we talk about Jeremy is like soccer Buddha. Like Prunty is like soccer Einstein. This dude is like a mad scientist.
I was gonna say
right?
soccer Jerry Garcia. like
this is why you do the podcast, John.
Equal parts genius, equal parts that dude is just chilling.
Yeah. But honestly, the content he creates, I believe he's writing a book right now.
Think so too.
He's taken every soccer course I can name. So I'll talk to him about a certain soccer course, and he'll be like, "Oh, don't take that. I'll just send you all my notes."
Oh.
And the dude is just insatiable in terms of soccer knowledge. But there's a rare coach that can take in all that knowledge and not kind of be snooty about it. So he just knows how to deliver it because he's an academic and he wants to meet you where you're at. So thrilled with him. I mean, it just feels like that's where again, it feels like the stars are aligning, right? Because we just have all the coaches, all the players. Let's just rock and roll.
It totally makes sense. The big challenge with UPSL, and why I think you might have to be that kind of read in the wind on one hand, right? Kind of a Yoda-esque figure that's just the flexible philosopher, is because you've got players that probably are going to be on that UPSL team that don't want to be there. You've got players on the UPSL team, and on the other hand, you've got players on the UPSL team that are super excited to be there, and feel like this is their big opportunity and want to keep going, right? So you're kind of squeezed on both ends by people that are looking past the moment, right? So
Correct.
given that, like, what are your expectations for the squad? Is it development? Is it rehab? Is it
Trophies, baby.
right? Racking up the trophies
You
and
know,
just own that lower level.
yeah, I mean, to me, that MC2 team is developmental, but it's not when I think sometimes you say developmental and that's just like that it negates the other pieces. Like, why can't we be developmental and win a UPSL national championship?
Sure.
Right? Like, so like we're taking some younger guys and like frankly we want them to all aspire to be on the top
Mm-hmm.
team, right? Like, and so when we really look at it, we're looking at a 55 to 60 player pool, and it's just two different leagues, and so we've got a mixture of what 18 to 20 games throughout the season. So we've got minutes to go around, and we just know with that player pool, if we can manage the guys correctly and they're all on board with each other and they like buy into the brotherhood, then it will work,
Mm-hmm.
right? And what that takes is just a ton of communication. And I think that's the really hard part about coaching, especially at this level, that people don't fully understand is like, for this to really work, I literally talk with Matt twice a day. I talk with the other coaches like like we talk all the time. And so if you're just showing up to a session and rolling a ball out, you can be a master class, but like it's all the stuff offside the field that really matters.
It's the man management. It's understanding the different needs of each player, like how you communicate with them. I mean,
Sure.
I totally agree with you. And the thing that we lose sight of is the fact that our MC2 team, which I know the three of us are in the same camp, that we should have called it something different because it's not a second team. But whatever, we can't go back. Can't go back now. We're only going forward. As soon as we step out of our conference, like there is just buzzsaws from a playoff perspective if we get there in Milwaukee with the Bavarians, in Chicago or in Illinois, with some teams, with with Adria. Like we're talking serious club history and talent. And for me, that's kind of the thing that I look at for that group of players is to say, look, like this is not a second team.
Mm-hmm.
We need to win with this team. And if you feel as if the season, we know some of the teams in our conference may be a little bit of a lesser quality historically. They may have leveled up. We don't know. But if you can get past those teams, you're playing against players that could potentially beat the NPSL team. So like you really have to lock in whether you're that guy dropping down from the NPSL squad, whether you're the futures kid being brought up, or the guy who is, a regular solidified MC2 starter. So I think all of that together, like the communication piece is huge, but also the flexibility of Michael, like you mentioned, I think it really is the cocktail recipe needed for that team.
Absolutely. And I'll just say one last piece to that, because John's spot on. The way that our rosters are shaping up, you guys will talk about that in a little bit. But like the way the rosters are shaping up, I think we're gonna see this year more than ever a little bit more fluidity,
Mm-hmm.
right? So like where a guy that you think is just an NPSL guy, where he's getting minutes with UPSL because positionally it makes sense, and vice versa, where we're going to be calling up guys because we just have really great depth across the board. And so far from what we've seen, a lot of guys that work really well together, like just a great group of guys that really, they actually care for each other.
Sure.
So
Adam, John, and I have talked a lot before that the club really kind of created this U23 team now called MC2, should be called something else, right? Because there's just so much talent coming through the trial process, so much talent coming through the scouting process, so much talent coming of age in Minnesota, right? Is that still the case? And like, I think you kind of just addressed it. Like, how does Coach Michael Prunty and yourself manage that, I don't know, traffic jam of talent at that middle level?
Yeah, man, that's tough. It's tough. I mean, I remember having a couple conversations with John. Like, you gotta turn off the faucet a little bit here. Like,
Yeah.
like it's got to be a drip. Like, you can't just keep turning that thing on full blast because we're drowning. But that's the really hard part, right? Is like, you have these really talented players from Minnesota. They want to come play for us. We have to say no at some point, because if you take too many guys, then they're not getting the minutes and we're not doing them justice, right?
Yeah.
If we don't take enough guys, then like things still happen, right? Like, it's a summer and guys do other things. So like, we've seen, if you don't carry a decent sized roster, you're not going to be able to
Injuries
compete.
will set you back.
So,
Travel will set you back.
yeah, so it's a really fine line, and we think that we've found the magic. But I mean, I think what this club has done more than anything is really highlighted the fact that, like, Minnesota's got some ballers. That's all I can say. We got some dudes out there.
Oh, for sure. I mean, the interesting thing for me is that, if you bubble it up a little bit under the club umbrella, regardless of team, we're seeing the competitors who used to not have to hold trials for players. And we were in the weird space when we started, where the trial process was how we created the club, right? Where other teams already had something that they just kind of morphed into a team that is playing against us. But now you're seeing, like, with COVID, where we don't know what some of these teams are going to be made up of. And we mentioned it last time, or last show, when we talked about the schedule coming out for NPSL. Like, the folks in Rochester and the folks in Duluth, like, those host families, like, are you going to want to have some guy during the COVID pandemic from Brazil living with you and your family? Maybe not. So a lot of these,
not likely.
A lot of these clubs are now, yeah, exactly, yeah. A lot of these clubs are finding folks that are okay with that still, to keep that model going, but they're also having to open up trial process to more local players, which I feel is better for Minnesota soccer. But it's different for them, where, like, our trial process is to throw the net even wider so we can see if we can bring other people in that need an opportunity. So you're finding this weird mixture of what we're going to see this year. But I think when you look at it within our club, you're looking at it within, like Adam said, it's an ecosystem of like 60 guys, and we need to find the opportunity for each of them within 2 18 game day rosters for, like, call it 30 games. And the communication across all the staff and the players understanding that it's okay to play on the UPSL team if you were, in quotes, signed up for the NPSL team. And then the UPSL guys who are, in quotes, signed up for that team are absolutely going to want to play with the NPSL team. So it's this embarrassment of riches a little bit. And I say that not to, like, slight anyone in our conference, but we just have a different ecosystem that we've created that works for us. And like Adam said, you kind of got to turn the faucet off on, like, how many players we're letting come through, because it's not fair, and it doesn't help us accomplish our mission of making the players from Minnesota better, raising their profile, and then raising the profile of Minnesota soccer if you have a whole bunch of disgruntled players who don't want to be there.
Right.
Nate, can I tell you just quick story that will highlight it
Yeah.
really well. Can I talk about the Inter game? Is
Yeah,
that okay?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And before
Okay,
you start,
so
Adam, this is
we ju-
your show, so we'll talk as long as you want. So if you want to talk about like U13 Adams like three goal game, we can talk about that too. So whatever you want to talk about, we're good.
So I appreciate that. So we scrimmage Inter Minneapolis. They're new team, well organized, seem like great guys, and so this will just illustrate what it's going to be like moving forward. But so I say, okay, we're going to play Inter Minneapolis, and we're going to take some NPSL guys that we need to continue to see in training. They need to keep proving it, right? We're going to take the UPSL guys that are here because there's not a ton of UPSL guys that are in town. They're largely college based,
Sure.
Doing whatever. And then we're going to bring up some futures players because some futures players have been playing very well and are deserving, right? So, okay, that's my plan. So I communicate that to the coaches. So now what does that mean, right? That means that, okay, now Matt's got to check with all these guys, like, can you be there? And then Prunty, okay, check with all your guys, make sure you can be there, okay? Then we invite the futures. We have to do that all like in a span of a couple days because we have to do it early enough to invite these futures players before their training. And so we get all these invites out, and then guys are kind of trickling back, like they're all 20, 22, whatever.
Or 17, 18.
Or 17. So they're not responding to you, and you have to like hit them up on Instagram or I don't know, Twitch or whatever the hell people do these days. Like you just can't you can't call kids these days. That's weird. So whatever. So it's just a ton of work. You're like hitting people, and then people start to drop, and you're hitting up other people. I mean, it was so much communication to put together this team that we wanted to be out there. It felt like it was a second full-time job for like 3 days. But again, it's all worth it because you get there on Saturday, you see these guys playing together, and it's like, oh, we have something special. So it's like it's all worth it. But that's what it's going to be like every week for the
So
whole summer.
we were gonna if you haven't you're a smart guy, Adam. If you haven't figured out we're cascading from top down here. So we're right about to get into future stuff. So I'm just going to elevate a question that we were going to talk to you about around because you just brought it up. So like the ultimate goal for the futures kids is to have that step in our hierarchy of programming be an introduction to the murder, and then use it as a player pool to promote from within, which you just recognized. We brought those 8 players up from the futures and showcased them in that friendly. Let's talk a little bit more about how do you feel that it went for them? I know the answer. Did they rise to the challenge? And were they or were you surprised at the chance to give them that was so elevated so quickly in the first year of our program? And really, it's still its infancy. We're like, what, 8 weeks into the futures program, and we're already talking about this?
Yeah, it's so new. But I mean, think about, John, the idea of the concept has been there in the club
Day one,
since
really. Yeah.
Day one. That was Keith Kicker. That so we talk about like Tyler Johnson as a developmental player in year one. So we had this idea of like a developmental player, taking a younger player and just bringing him in when he can make it, right? Like just come when you're not doing club soccer. And it was just such this loose thing that it never it wasn't just well developed. And then in comes Jeremiah Johnson. It's like, well, I'll take this idea that you guys had and I'm going to give it a ton of structure and I'm going to make it cool and like whatever, right? So like makes this wonderful thing happen, and then we give it a name, call it the futures. Same thing with the U23. Like the U23s was the U23s, and then like it morphed into the MC2. So like these ideas have been in the club, right? So then we look at so then we pull up I mean the deal is on the futures squad, there's some absolute monsters. Like these kids, I mean, they're like, it's crazy because they're 17, 18. But like I don't know. I just think that Minnesota soccer is like, could it be entering a golden age of like
Yeah.
some of these kids that are coming up where it's like, these kids are incredible. Like they're really incredible. And so, like that's where you think about like, man, it's too bad. Like you lost a little bit of that Minnesota United Academy or whatever. Like, but that's where like, I'm so glad that we were here to like help elevate these kids, because John and I saw it on Saturday. It had nothing to do with anyone except for those futures
Right.
players, because as soon as they came in, they changed the entire narrative.
They were
game.
responsible for 3 of the 4 goals.
Yeah, it was
so
incredible.
Before we dive too deep into that, because we're going to get into a second, I want to bubble it up a little bit to talk about. Put your technical director hat back on. So you brought JJ Jeremiah Johnson. We call him JJ. Get used to it because it's easier to say. He really was the architect for the newest program for Minneapolis City in the futures. Walk us through that process a little bit. Like which came first, like the hiring of him. We talked a little bit about like the futures program was kind of always there, but like, was it hiring JJ or was it JJ pitching the futures first? Talk about that, because I know there's a little bit of a story there.
Yeah, I mean, I remember we went and got coffee at Head Flyer over on Hennepin, and because I was so excited, I get to ditch work and just go hang out with JJ, and we talk soccer for like an hour and a half. I think I downed like 2 Americanos and was just fucking.
That's a different level of Adam that I haven't thought about.
That's
caffeine,
better than 3 Guinness,
okay,
Adam.
Okay.
It's not good. It's not good. But so like you could tell Jeremiah's got like, he's very well organized, and he's got a vision. Like he knows what he wants to execute on, and so when I met with him, he knows the club. He's been a member.
He was he signed up for the lifetime membership.
He's a lifetime member, right? So he comes and he's got this knowledge of the club that I was like, whoa, okay. And it was but it was such a slow burn. I think him and I talked for probably a year and a half before, like, well, it was a year probably. And then for that 6 months, it was like after a year of like going back and forth on, are we going to do this? What does the U19s look like? We were calling it the U19s at the time.
Because that's what we got the board approval for.
And exactly. And so the way that I remember JJ, he like called me one day and he's like, look, I woke up in the middle of the night and I had this crazy vision and I like just wrote down a bunch of notes. I'm going to tell you all about it. And it was like, oh, well that makes all the sense in the world.
Fucking Doc Brown over here.
That.
No,
Marty.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's 100% true, because when Dan and I, like, from like, obviously Adam is an integral part of like the leadership of the club, but like from a founder's perspective, when it was vetted through, which you'll get into, and Dan and I finally saw the pitch, we're like, holy shit, this is it. Like, this is what we were looking for. And it all came on like a napkin at the bedside when JJ woke up feverishly in the middle of the night. It totally did.
And the thing with the futures program is that it makes so much sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, why haven't we been doing this for 20 years? Like, what are we doing? But that's all good ideas.
Yeah, I
right?
suppose.
I don't know.
So, you talked a little bit about it. We're going to kind of maybe step a little bit over some stuff you talked about. So, bear with us here. All good conversation takes different paths. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
So far, I've been involved a little bit with coaching. I got a chance to coach the futures last week in training. I've helped be a mentor coach for the Sevens League. But from your perspective, so far, you kind of come in and out and get a chance to watch it, every now and then, when you're done with meetings on our Monday meeting night. What what are the successes from your perspective of the program so far? And do you see any areas of improvement? And I'll caveat, I don't see a ton of areas of improvement for what we're seeing right now. Like, I really feel like it's kind of hard to say it, but like we kind of nailed it. But I want to hear it from your perspective.
I'm glad you did, because John knows that I'm hard on like very high standards, hypercritical, but try to be in a positive way. But like, I'll never be satisfied on the playing side.
Well, no
right?
one is. I'm never satisfied unless it's 12-0 and a national championship. Like
yeah. So the like bones are good, the coaching is good. I think it's about how do you take a group of kids that range from 16 to right about 20, right? How do you take those kids and how do we start to inject the culture of the club into that? So, and the reason I say that is because it's truly a supplementary program. They're all doing other stuff, right? Like, they're playing club soccer, they're playing in school, whatever they're doing, right? How do we take it and say, but like on the 2 hours that you're with us every week, like, this is it, right? And like, take advantage of it every week and come here. And so it's like, that's what we're all working on as a coaching staff, is like making sure the guys are showing up, making sure that they're very present, and they're just focusing on like the few things that we're trying to do, because all we're trying to do with these players is like
make them better,
elevate them.
That's it. Number one goal.
Like, and like, so then I think like the next iteration here is, and very soon, is I want to pivot into like, I'd like to continue to work with their club coaches, right? Like, I'd like to start bringing in different like coaches from the community into like, hey, watch what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we want this to be collaborative. We want everyone to like, we want this to benefit everyone. Like, not just the players, but coaches and like just Minnesota soccer, right? And so that's to me, that's like where we're getting to, is like, not just like because the players are good, the training's good, but like, how do we really affect the culture and like build something great? That's what I'm focused on.
I like that, like making the futures like almost the connective tissue, right, of youth soccer once it hits a certain level. Like
right.
what are the coaches' learning outcomes, if you will, right? What are they, and eventually it's going to get hard to juggle that with the club priorities and the club's system and that sort of thing. But for now, it feels admirable.
I think the hardest thing, and I don't know if you agree with me, Adam, is what happens next year.
Mm-hmm.
After we've gone through this, like, we'll call it a pilot program, even though we piloted with the first team this fall. The True Futures pilot program, like, what's the appetite for a player who's not quite ready to make the jump to the UPSL squad? Like, what's their attitude when we say, like, you have a spot in the club
futures again,
and it's futures again,
mm-hmm.
But then they're becoming the leaders of the next group that's coming in underneath. And they're getting more than just soccer, right? They're getting that leadership piece that is so important for a player. Like, you've gone from a squad member to a squad leader. Like, how is
you
that?
Got to expect though, Adam. Like, that means we're going to bleed players, and that's kind of fine.
Yeah,
right. Like, when these,
for sure.
I disagree.
When these, I mean, well, listen. Hear me out. Like, when these kids go back to their when these kids go back to their clubs, right, and all of a sudden their development has come leaps and bounds above maybe some of their colleagues who haven't had the opportunity to be on the futures. Obviously, that will make them feel good, right? They'll be able to see the fruits of their labor, so that's great. You're gonna deal with kids that affects their ego. You're gonna deal with kids that maybe And we might have already seen it, that might not want to play for the UPSL team, that might not be happy with futures, that might want that shot at NPSL. And if I don't get it, I can get it somewhere else. Like, what's to keep them besides the brotherhood? Like, what's to keep them at Minneapolis City?
Yeah, no,
Trust
you're
the
right, you're right.
process, kids.
Well, so I'll tell you, this is where I see it going. Right now, we have the futures that goes from 16 to 19, right? Well, a future iteration, and so I'll tell you, I can tease this to you guys. When JJ, when put like JJ, we'll call him the architect, put together
We're
his
in the
full
Matrix now.
program. Yeah,
We're twitching. We're in the Matrix.
he had this, so we'll call it version 5, right? So there's like a futures like full program that we will not talk about. We won't release to the public. Like, it's not there yet. This is version 1.5.
Okay.
And I can like, seriously, that's what we've called it. It's version 1.5. And I scaled it back big time. That was my only contribution, was like, no, like, we can't do that. But we can
The future is on the way.
And yeah, and so there's more that we can do with it. Like, we think it could be more, but we have to build it. We have to prove that we can do what we're saying we can do. I would like to see, like, in the near term, can we split the futures into, like, you've got futures that are like 16, 17, and then like futures that are 18, 19, right? So futures U17, futures U19. Because frankly, the talent's just there. We have enough talent, and if we can do it well, why not? But Nate, to your point, you're absolutely right. That's a huge challenge.
You can't keep them all.
No,
you can't keep them all. You really can't keep them all.
Mm-hmm.
Although we want to, but we really like all these soccer players, but they also have to be the right culture fit. So, like, it's not going to work for everyone.
So, we've talked about this a little bit, Adam, that Minneapolis City, through the Futures program and of course the UPSL before that, has been able to elevate guys specifically from small soccer clubs or who just don't have a club at all, right? Somehow have been able to find their way onto the Futures just by playing high school ball, which is amazing. And the fact that we can profile them and develop them alongside arguably probably some of the richest kids that play soccer in the state, right? That have basically, you've got guys that have been given zero to little opportunity who are able to develop alongside, that have had every opportunity available to them. How big is that for those kids? And eventually, as the number of those kids grow, how big is that for the soccer community here in Minnesota?
Yeah, it's the second one's important. I mean, like, if we can have an impact on the kids, great. I would say that those kids are having a bigger impact on the club.
For sure.
Right? I'll tell you, it was the only reason I want to be a part of all this is because we're trying to focus on that outreach to, like, the Futures was built on this thing of, like, can we elevate players that may not have had every opportunity in the world? There's nothing wrong with having, like, that's the thing with privilege. Like, you like, it's privilege. Like, it's okay if you have it. It's not like this terrible thing, but, like, you have to recognize it, and that's okay. But so from the beginning of the Futures, it was, can we focus on a lot of our energy on reaching out into communities and finding coaches and finding high school programs, working with people to try to find players that don't have every opportunity in the world, and how can we get them into our program so we can help them
Right.
shine? And through that process, we have created like this wonderful mix of player that I mean, when you start to get like, let's call it for what it is, like, a rich suburban white boy, um, with with some of the inner city kids that haven't had that opportunity to play club ball, and they're all training at a high intensity level with each other, starting to become friends. It's become a beautiful thing. And like I said, I think that those players are giving more to the club than anything else, because it's just like we're learning so much, and the more like it's like the more that they give us in terms of like their time and energy, the more that we want to give back to them in terms of elevating their game, helping them to get to a college level,
I love
whatever it may be.
So, Adam, it's been an hour. It doesn't seem like it. We've just been rolling
My
through.
God, you're clearly just sitting in your driveway doing nothing.
Yeah. Hopefully you still got one more beer left in the tank. So we're now at the game period of the show. So you've played many of the games we've had on the show. We had word association back in the day. We just put to rest Ask John Anything, where I went undefeated. Suck it. We have it.
What was that first game, John, where you did like the name thing and no, I couldn't get it. You made me really feel dumb, but it was awesome.
It was called Explain Twitch to People. I think that was what it was called. But no, we have a new game called this year called Crowfax. So here's how the game works.
Crowfax.
Crowfax. We need like a sound bite. We'll see if we can get Tyler on that one.
I just gave it to you.
Yeah,
sounds like a new.
That was it.
It sounds like a new. It sounds like a new.
Yeah, Crowfax. We'll build an app later. So we'll ask you 3 questions that are crow related. They could be about the club, maybe a player, a specific match, or just about the bird, the crow.
The majestic crow.
So here's how the game works then. So we'll ask you those 3 questions. If you have the actual answer, obviously give it. But if not, you got to sell us an answer that you think is correct. So an example that and Hoof was our pilot on this, and no disrespect, Kevin, you did terrible. He got the sample question wrong, which is
not a good sign.
Who is the short? You got the game wrong.
Wrong.
An example question could be, who's the shortest crow that's ever played for City? And the answer to that would be Ben Wexler. He said Goose, so he wasn't far off, but he was close. So does the game make sense to you? Can we dive in, or do you have any questions?
Yeah. Okay. So if I'm trying to sell you on an answer, am I just like confidently just saying something, or do I get a little bit of time to
you can do whatever you'd like, and I will finish off with it. You've gotten the question correct, or I will tell you that what the real answer is. So
got it. Okay.
Okay. So question 1: the Barnyard, South Minneapolis High School, where we started this all off. They have a mascot, which is a tiger, and there literally is a bronze tiger, complete with a fantastically proportionate set of testicles. What was the tiger's name?
I can't believe you read that.
Easy. Barney the fucking tiger.
That is incorrect. It's Gallant the tiger.
I think you're wrong.
Google says otherwise, but if
yeah.
All right, fine. I've been proven wrong, but I said it confidently. You paused for a second there, Nate.
Good swing at it.
Mm-hmm.
Barney the tiger at the bar.
I mean, I appreciate it.
I think they misnamed that.
You have to realize that the only people who called it the Barnyard was us. Like, they don't call their own field the Barnyard. So
okay,
yeah. So
wrong.
Like you can talk to an alumnus of Minneapolis South and be like, "Yeah, we played our first season at the Barnyard." They're like, "What the hell's the Barnyard?" So okay. So question number 2.
Fair.
In year 2, our second year, where you were the head coach, Who were the goalkeepers on the NPS, the first year of NPSL that you coached?
Oh, yeah.
There were two. I'll give you a hint. There were two.
Oh boy. Oh, okay. So
Yep, that's
Matt
low-hanging
Elder.
fruit.
Oh, and Duncan Worth.
Got you. You know
James Nair.
Nope. The answer would be Matt Elder, which you nailed.
No! Wait!
Okay.
Don't.
Okay.
He's gonna be mad at me if I don't get this. And our boy from Minnesota United Reserves, Pete. No. What was his name? Connor.
Do
Peter.
you care if he's mad at you if you don't even remember his name?
You can see his face right in front of me. What is his name,
The
John?
correct, you were close. I'll give you like half credit. So his name was, should I go by his full name, including his nickname that the team gave him, or should I go by his God-given name?
Lord.
I'm gonna go by his full name that the team gave him. It would be Stinky Pete Runquist.
Pete.
Yeah.
I got it. I mean, after like 4
You
guesses,
got it.
but
Yeah.
I got it.
Peter
Runquist.
Runquist. Stinky Pete. And the reason why they called him Stinky Pete was because his goalkeeping equipment fucking stunk. So,
Peter, I'm so sorry I forgot you for a half second, man. I've had 2 or 3
Peter,
beers.
I will say this: you are the only goalkeeper in Minneapolis City history to date that is undefeated.
That's good.
Okay.
Let's go.
Okay. So, last question: are there differences between a crow and a rook? And if so, what are they?
There's no difference, sir. There's zero fucking difference. That's the same bird. That's the same bird.
So that's incorrect.
Damn it!
I'll give you a quick
I'm really bad at this
It's a hard
game.
game.
I'll give you a quick definition of the rook. So a crow is the crow. The rook is a species of crow that's defined as a gregarious crow with black plummet. A gregarious
crow. Either way, it's still
Yeah.
like, how do you describe
Yeah.
a crow like that?
It's a mean crow?
It's a mean crow. The differences between the two is that the rook is pale. It has a straighter bill with a bare gray base, and they display, in quotation marks, according to the internet, feathery trousers on their legs.
Trousers.
and have an oily, loose plumage compared to the crow. In flight, however, they have longer wings than the crow, which narrow towards the body, and they have a long, graduated tail. So they're
Is he making this up?
I'm just gonna say it's some good Wikipedia.
Yeah. This is where I show my internet skills. This is what I took. I didn't take it off of Wikipedia. I took it off of National Geographic. So.
Oh, hey. So hold on. Did we just find the name?
Well,
for
that's
MC2?
what we called. We called them the Rookery when they were the 23s.
Didn't stick.
It didn't stick. It should have.
Didn't stick.
It should have.
Stick. Is there any chance that I've seen a rook
Probably
in Minnesota?
Yeah, I'd have to say so. I mean, if we have the mega murder, you'd have to feel like some rooks just came along for the ride, right?
Have you guys? I mean, real quick, you guys have all run into like the mega murder?
Oh, it's been
in
everywhere.
Minneapolis, yeah.
Yeah, I used to work down in Loring Park quite a few years ago. Yeah,
it's terrifying.
I would be walking to my car underneath 94, and I would be like, I need to run because I don't know what that is, and it's just this dark mass of birds squawking coming in my direction. I got to get the hell out of here. It is terrifying. It really is.
It is terrifying. There was one year I lived in Loring Park for 6 years. These damn birds, they targeted my car. They targeted it. And I couldn't see, I couldn't drive. I couldn't see out the windshield. And it was like one of those -10 snaps. And
Yeah, you still
Hello.
there?
hello.
Yeah, we're still here.
Oh, we're on the edge of our seat here.
Yeah. Oh man, you got us thinking. Oh no.
Hello?
We lost him in the middle of perhaps the most riveting story about crows we've ever heard.
Yeah. Oh no, Adam, are you there?
He's getting out of his car. What's happening?
Should I lose
Yeah,
you
are
guys?
you back?
We can hear you. Can you hear us?
My bad. I don't know
Okay,
what
well, I
happened
can edit it out. So you start off with the coming at your windshield.
They shit all over the windshield. I couldn't see out of it, and it was -10 for like a week. So I called into work a couple days. I couldn't drive. Yeah, so it's just that was my first foray with the murder. So then when I came to work for the Crows, it was just destined.
Well, Adam, you are now the second ever participant in Crow Facts.
Crow Facts.
You did.
That was a phenomenal
You did
game.
okay. I'm not.
I did really bad.
I'm not going to
really
puff
bad.
up your feathery trousers and say you did good, but you
No
did okay.
puffery here.
You did okay.
What are those pants
Feathery
called?
trousers.
Feathery trousers.
Sounds like a new iteration of our shorts that we need to be wearing.
If we don't see a pair of feathery trousers at the club shop within 2 weeks, I quit.
Show me your feathery trousers.
Yeah. Or on the flip side, Nate, please take off your feathery trousers.
This took a weird turn. I've had my fourth beer.
Already?
All right. Well, Adam, a pleasure as always. I feel like this one just flew by. Thank you so much for joining us. We got a lot of good insight into your new role with, or we'll call them roles with City. Thank you for the insight on kind of how these other pieces of the programming that we're starting to offer now that were just a glimmer in our eye when you were the head coach or you were even the goalkeeper coach. So really appreciate it, man. And congratulations on being our most capped guest.
Thank you so much, Adam.
Thank you for having me on. You guys are wonderful podcasters. It's been a
All right.
pleasure.
Cheers, man. Thanks. So that is all for this week's show, folks. Thank you to Adam, and thank you as always to our show sponsor, Summit Brewing Company. The weather is starting to turn, my friends, which means it is almost Pilsner time. There is nothing better than fueling your Sud session with an easy drinking beer, whether it's Keller Pils or Dakota Soul. Summit has what you need. Head on over to your liquor store, your local liquor store, shop local, and support our friends. Summit, a more meaningful brew since 1986. If giving back to the community means a lot to you, maybe it's time to give to the club that loves to give back. Minneapolis City is a 501c3 that provides a safe, reliable, and fun environment for young people to play the beautiful game. As well as our, like we talked about today, our newly formed Year One Futures Program. You can donate to the Scholarship Fund, help some kids that might not be able to afford it play some high-level soccer. Consider a tax-deductible donation now that it's tax time to a truly city-focused organization. Do you have anything you want us to cover? I think maybe a Tuesday with Tori or getting an OG player guest. We got some options here. Any guests you want us to have on, any quests you want us to go on, send us mail. It's easy to do. Hit us up on Twitter at The People's Pitch or through email, mcscpodcast@gmail.com. All questions, comments, and concerns are welcome. And finally, as always, you can complain to the club. Dan loves it. At MPLSCitySC on Twitter. Thanks for joining us for another year. We're 2 shows into the new year of The People's Pitch. That'll do it for tonight. I am John. That was Adam. And, of course, that was Nate. The season is fast upon us, so become a member and join the fun. And, of course, you got hooked.
Poster burning maple weeds, cradle major keys. Thinking back, I've been major since the minor league. So supreme, too much sauce off my olive NMDs. I could staple steez, bend the goat so I get the cheese, never fall. Rake them leaves and make sure every moment gets seized and everything I see.